However, I can understand wanting to hold off on telling the office about the relationship. Plus, we get a cute bit where Mindy calls him into her office to look at fake paperwork, which he totally didn't get. Then he tries to do it, and he takes the fake scenario way too far.
Mindy, I just got a call from the hospital. You gave a patient the wrong medication and she's in a coma. In my office. Now.
I mean, that's good stuff, but there's going to be a fly in the ointment, a monkey in the wrench, if you will. Welcome back to another episode of The Rank. I'm John, and today we're going to be ranking the next episode of the Mindy Project. Now, for those of you who are new to the show, I'm just going to give you the agenda real quick. We start off with the Potent Notables, which are just a couple interesting facts or tidbits that I found out about the episode or series. And then I go into the episode overview, which is just where I talk about the episode from beginning to end. And then I do the rank, the namesake of the show, where I rank the episode in 5 categories on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best, all to find out what is the best sitcom of all time. So we take a sitcom, we rank every single episode of that series. The average of those rankings gives us the series ranking. Now today we're going to be ranking the 17th episode of the second season of the Mindy Project called Be Cool, written by Ike Barinholtz and David Stassen and directed by Rob Schrab. Now just so you know, there will be spoilers ahead. You know, it's available on Hulu, so if you want to watch it, watch it. Now for those of you who are enjoying these episodes or you're just a fan of the Mindy Project and like consuming content about it, please consider subscribing and or following, like the episode, comment. You can email me at info@therankpodcast.com with your questions, suggestions, whatever, and I will respond to you. If you really want to support us real bad, you can support us by becoming a patron on our Patreon site at patreon.com/therankpodcast. But without further ado, let's dive into the ranking, starting with the Potent Notables.
Potent Notables.
So this 17th episode of the second season aired Tuesday, April 8th, 2014. Mindy did a bit better this week, getting 2.3 million viewers, which is definitely better than 1.9. It wasn't enough to beat the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship on ESPN, though, which had 4.27 million viewers watch UConn beat Notre Dame. It also didn't hold on to Glee's 2.8 million viewer lead-in. Now, Fox was still doubling up episodes, so this is the 9 p.m. slot, and next week when we do the next episode, it'll be the 9:30 slot. So as for the direct competition, besides the women's championship, the Goldbergs were on ABC and beat Mindy with 4.5 million viewers. Amish Mafia on Discovery beat it with 2.45. About a Boy on NBC had 6.9, and CBS's NCIS Los Angeles crushed everyone in this time slot and the next with 14.6 million viewers, the next being 9:30 p.m. The winner of the night was the regular NCIS, of course, with 17.4 million. So our next and last Potent Notable is that when Morgan arrives at Mindy, he not only references the movie Home Alone and does the iconic scream, but he is also wearing the sweater that Kevin, Macaulay Culkin, wears in the movie. I know it's a weak one, that's just what I got. Hey, you know, there's like 150 of these, so give me a break. All right, let's go to the episode overview. So the beginning of this episode actually really disappointed me. One of the things this series has done off and on at the beginning of episodes is to have Mindy doing a voiceover, only to find out that she's actually talking to someone. It's a goofy little bit that I really enjoy, and I've expressed before that I wish they'd have been able to keep that up for the whole series. But in this one, we get a voiceover to start the episode. I was genuinely looking forward to the show showing us who she was actually talking to, but they didn't. It was just an actual voiceover. It's probably a silly thing to be disappointed by, but I was nonetheless. Now, in the first episode after the kiss, Mindy ended up still being together with Cliff and having to figure out how to break up with him. Then in the next episode, or last week's, she finds out she's in a porno, and we find out that Danny is a date raper.
No, we didn't.
But in this episode, we open with them just enjoying each other finally, until Danny says that he just wants them to keep the relationship on the down low, to be cool. Now, when I hear the phrase be cool, I can't help but think of John Travolta playing Chili Palmer and a young Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson playing a gay bodyguard. Maybe I'm just a nerd. I don't know.
Well, it's pretty obvious, isn't it?
But that's what I think of. Either way, Danny's up to his old nonsense again. This dude has a lot of insecurities. However, I can understand wanting to hold off on telling the office about the relationship. Plus, we get a cute bit where Mindy calls him into her office to look at fake paperwork, which he totally didn't get. Then he tries to do it, and he takes the fake scenario way too far.
Mindy, I just got a call from the hospital. You gave a patient the wrong medication and she's in a coma. In my office. Now.
I mean, that's good stuff. But there's going to be a fly in the ointment. A monkey in the wrench, if you will. And that fly is named Brooke. Apparently a very attractive pharmaceutical saleswoman likes Danny, and she comes into the office once a year. And this is the day she's coming. Naturally, she still wants her some Danny, and Danny can't say he's in a relationship. Meanwhile, Mindy hasn't been home in 3 days, and it turns out she's been robbed. Jeremy has the great idea that she shouldn't be alone because criminals often come back to do it again. I don't think he's right about that. Anyway, Morgan volunteers to stay with Mindy, and then Peter's like, why not Danny? So Danny runs away. I will say, I don't really understand what this show is doing with Danny. He's kind of a dick when we first meet him in the first season, and then he grows on us, right? Much like a dick would.
My apologies for the joke.
You get us excited for him and Mindy to be together, and then you just turn him into a dick again. It feels like they're playing with my emotions. Somehow, Danny is able to keep convincing Mindy to continue being cool, even blaming Mindy for the fact that Morgan is staying at her apartment now. Some subtle gaslighting. Now, we also find out that Peter is seeing someone, an easy-to-please chubster, apparently. Jeremy is appalled at this, which, come on, Jeremy, we just found out that you worked your way through the entire ballet company. By the way, what he's appalled about is not that she's a chubster, but that Peter is not very good to women. But Jeremy, not appreciating how Peter treats women, is going to play a role in this story, because Morgan is going to find Danny's scrubs in Mindy's apartment, but he finds Peter's pen in the pocket and assumes they're Peter's scrubs. Now Jeremy and Morgan think that Mindy is the chubster that Peter's dating. Morgan is going to overhear Danny talking to Mindy about coming over, so Danny covers it up by saying that they're throwing a party at Mindy's, which everyone just accepts. Wasn't she just robbed? I mean, I suppose it does seem like something Mindy would do, but I would think she would feel very violated in her home. Of course, then Jeremy insists that Danny invite Brooke to the party because, you know, Jeremy likes them together and doesn't know that he and Mindy are together. I enjoy that Peter is really getting annoyed with Danny, and I also enjoyed Jeremy being annoyed with Peter because he thinks Peter is trying to invite a girl to Mindy's party whom he thinks Peter is dating. Now on to the party, where Brooke is all over Danny and Mindy is understandably upset. She's feeling like Danny is embarrassed by her, which I also get. So Peter comes up with the idea that she should essentially try to make him jealous with Peter. It works from a comedy standpoint, but it also works to make Danny jealous, and to further convince Morgan and Jeremy that Mindy has hit rock bottom and is dating Peter. So convinced, as a matter of fact, that they decide to have an intervention with her. Danny looks like he's about to save her from this embarrassing intervention, but then Mindy stops him and just allows herself to continue to be embarrassed. I didn't really understand why she did that, but she probably wanted a more romantic announcement. Once everybody leaves, she confronts Danny with an ultimatum. Either they tell everyone or they break up. Then Danny says, yeah, let's break up. What the hell? I thought for sure they wouldn't end it that way, when she's like, no, it wasn't a real ultimatum, but no, he's a crazy fuck up. He finally got laid and he left. The picture of Danny is really coming together. A hit it and quit it man. I bet Sir Mix-a-Lot would pull up quick and get with it. All right, well, let's find out how Danny's antics have affected the rank.
A rank.
So the rank is where I rank the episode based on 5 categories: story, acting, dialogue, episode coherence, and character relatability. I rank it on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. And then I have a laugh counter where I tally up the amount of times the episode made me laugh. 1 point per laugh out loud gets added to the score. Now, before I dive into the rankings, I just want to say, if you're enjoying this episode, please leave a like down below. It really does help us out. But anyway, the first category is story, which I gave a 4.5. You know what? This is a really good story. It's the story of the beginning of a relationship and how fragile it is. It's also navigating a new relationship that consists of coworkers and colleagues. For as absurd and goofy as this episode was, it also felt very real. So let's go to acting, which I gave a 5. I thought the acting was really well done. I'm so disappointed in the turn that Danny is taking, but it makes sense that he's a self-sabotager. Chris Messina played this really well. Mindy was great. Everyone was great. So let's go to dialogue, which I also gave a 5. Considering how loaded the episode was, it's super freaking hilarious. I know we haven't done the laugh counter yet, but it's a lot. So let's go to episode coherence, which I gave a 4.5. The only issue I have with this is the idea that everyone would be fine with the idea that Mindy would want to throw a party after having just been robbed. Otherwise, I have no issue with it. They've shown that Danny is an insecure guy throughout the series, especially when it comes to women, so it shouldn't come as a surprise that he's being insecure, even though it does. So let's go to character relatability, which I gave a 4.25. It's all very relatable themes, and the overarching issues and feelings are also very relatable. The things that aren't as relatable are things like letting Morgan live with you, or being so obstinate comment about declaring a relationship that you sabotage it by inviting a woman who is into you and that you've had sex with to your girlfriend's house and then allowing that flirtation to continue happening in front of said girlfriend? I mean, what the hell, Danny? Come on. All right, so it's got really good ranking scores, so it's got a good chance of being in the top tier here, as long as it has a good laugh counter, and it has an excellent laugh counter. It got me 26 times, which is a pretty large amount. So that puts the grand total up to 49.25 for this episode of the Mindy Project, and that puts it in the meaning of life. As for the series average, it goes to 36.1, giving it a pretty decent jump further into the Holy Grail. So thanks for listening and or watching. If you'd like to see a list of our episode and series rankings, you can do that on our website at therankpodcast.com. Remember to subscribe, review, and comment, and please consider supporting us on our Patreon site at patreon.com/therankpodcast, where you can get access to all of our archived episodes. And once again, if you enjoyed the episode, please leave a like down below. It really does help us out. But I will leave you with this. Why did Danny and Mindy miss their connection? Because Danny got stuck with too much baggage, insecurity.
Wow, that was painful.
That probably works better if you can actually read it.
It's still pretty bad.
And then I have a laugh counter where I tally up the amount of times the movie. And then I have a laugh counter where I tally up the amount of time.
He does this from time to time.